Congratulations.
All right, back in session 7:28. We have educational spotlight.
Yes, we'll continue with the enjoyable evening we've had thus far. I'll turn it over to Mr. Kania to introduce our top 2 students in class of 2025.
All right, so it's my honor to recognize our top 2 for the class of 2025. So we are going to start first with our salutatorian. So Anna, if you want to come down here. So it is my honor to introduce as our salutatorian, Anna Osborne. Anna Osborne, GPA, get this, 4.1625 and a 30 on her ACT, which is a lot higher than mine. That's She's the daughter of Aaron and Anita Osborne, and by the way, I'm brief tonight. They will speak at graduation, and they will get to tell their entire story. So we don't want to take all of that from them. I know she's going to say where she's going, but she's going to my alma mater. So she is going to be a Falcon, which we are so proud of, and look forward to big things over there in Bowling Green. She was one of our state qualifiers this fall, one of our 3 girls who qualified in girls tennis, and she got some great experiences here at Norwalk High School. She's been part of TLC. She got to travel to your Glasgow trip with GeoTrack, got to take part in that, got to see a great global perspective, and she just represents everything it is to be an elite student here at Norwalk High School. She has been an amazing artist. If you went to our art show last week, half of it was hers, I believe, as a senior, taking tons of those classes, and she's produced many great works we would all love to hang in our own house. A common theme with my top 2 and everybody here, they are all workers. Okay? They're dependable. At the same time of doing everything she does, she's worked at Betsy's Boutique and logged lots of work hours throughout this year, maintained employment, which I believe is important for every kid to learn to work at this age. And it's my honor to say she represents this class as our salutatorian. So we will have her just say briefly what her plans are for the future and what she plans to do here starting next year.
So I guess I will be attending Bowling Green State University. There I got accepted into a pretty competitive program called the President's Leadership Academy. It's a 4-year leadership development program. I'm planning on exploring the exercise science field, and one of the paths I'm thinking about is in my doctorate in occupational therapy.
Awesome.
All right, hold on. We'll have one more round of applause for Anna Osborne.
Congratulations.
All right, next I'm going to bring up our valedictorian, and we'll use her formal name. We'll bring down Lillian Farmer. Okay. Lillian Farmer finished her 7 semesters with a 4.2375 GPA. Again, much higher than that. She's the daughter of Sam and Angie Farmer. She will talk about her future, where she's attending as part of her thing. She's done 4 years of soccer and softball. And, you know, the one thing that's nice about both these individuals, they've been part of league titles. Well, here, they've been champions, both of them. Winning, probably 2 soccers, and the first ever softball last year, which, you know, that's groundbreaking to be part of that. First numbers on the board, first ever league title, that has been a big part of that. Lily is a very dependable person. If you want something done, she will do it, okay? With a smile on her face at all times, always carries that great attitude with her. Also, she was in the orchestra and part of our academic challenge, which has now found some refound success, and finalist in the Firelands Challenge program. She has been a big part of that. We've made the playoffs the past 2 years and been a part of that success. She also has worked a job. Shows Lake Erie Arms, so she can protect herself. So, I know, says I work in the food court. Don't tell anyone that. Lake Erie Arms is where I work, and then they will respect that part. Also putting time in as a job and learning that. So it is my honor to have her talk about what she plans in the next couple of years.
So I'm attending The Ohio State University and majoring in pharmaceutical sciences to then pursue my Pharm D to become a pharmacist.
Awesome. Can you say that university one more time? I thought you said the. Yeah, that's right.
All right, so let's hear one more time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job.
And she crushed a home run last night too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next person to recognize is Mike Connie. He is our school resource officer for the Norwalk City School District. This is year 2 for us, so he doesn't really need an introduction. Everyone in this room knows him well. As a Marine, as a longtime Norwalk police officer, and then rising all the way to the top position as the chief. We are fortunate to have landed him here because I said you can have positions open as a teacher, as a principal. You need the right people. It needs to be the right fit, and Mike answers that bell. He answers that call for sure. He is the right fit for Norwalk City School District. He is the right choice by far. You can land a person, you can land a body. Mike Connie's not that. He is so much more, and you'll hear that from Mr. Kania, and maybe a few of our students will share that as well. So, Mr. Kania.
Mike, come on.
Yeah.
So all my time here, I've known Mike. Mike has had several titles. He has been Detective Connie, Captain Connie, Chief Connie, and now Sheriff Connie. We call him around these parts. Every role that he's had, like, he still maintains high integrity and dedication towards his job. And most of all, his connection to people, his connection to our kids, our staff is second to none. You know, he is not just an SRO. He kind of transcends that position. And a lot of schools have an SRO. We have a Mike. You know, I think that's Mr. Cooley's line. But we have a Mike running our buildings. We have a guy with experience at all levels of law enforcement who is a Marine himself. He has that honor, courage, and commitment. That commitment to Norwalk City Schools. He does our peace officer training with our kids. He does self-defense we do with our staff inside of our buildings. He runs drills. Sometimes they're a little crazy, and sometimes he's tough on our shoulders a little bit when we do our drills. But they all help prepare us so that we are thinking about our number one goal, which is the safety and security of our students. That has always been first for him. That has always been first for us. He has built trust with everyone here, and is viewed as a mentor towards everybody as he greets them throughout. He is also a master at chicken foot, as he can tell you. Come around and beat anyone in that. And, you know, it's like at the high school, Mr. Cooley and I used to joke about, we used to have extra money because we get hit up with every single fundraiser. Okay? When the kids have a fundraiser, Mike will buy it all and then give it away. Like, I don't know if they see him first, Mr. Connie, I'm selling this stuff, I'll buy the whole box. And then he gives it out throughout the day, or brings in donuts that day, or does that extra special thing throughout the years. I know with his presence around, I feel more calm, and we are safe and secure. I feel more confident in my position, and he has definitely made me a better person. So again, thank you, Mike, for being who you are, and thank you for being here in this position.
And Lily, you want to say anything? You can stay where you are.
Well, Mr. Connie, he is just so personable. Like, instead of eating with other teachers or adults, he wheels his wheeling chair in. And every single day he eats with students. He's always just someone that will give you a smile or if you need help. Very great guy to have around.
And bringing snacks to people is true, because I always get chocolate from him, you know. I think he buys out the bake sale every time they have it down there.
So, and today we had a field day, and he participated in our grit Olympics.
He was on the
relay.
champion team.
Still got it.
So on the Clever Touch, you see a few collage of pictures that Mike County's been involved with the Cleveland Browns connection there on the bottom right. But anything that's happening district-wide, he is there. So, we have these crisis badges. If there's a need, someone hits that button, he is going to that school, wherever that crisis, wherever that button has been pushed. He is responding to that. Even though it might be viewed as not that important, he's going to make sure he's there because he understands that's his job. But the cool side of Mike County is all these other things. The student, the kid connection that he has done, which is far more than safety, security, and someone with a gun in that position. He is someone who actually cares and loves the kids that attend all of our schools. And that's incredible because I've seen it with our biggest of kids, I'll call you two, and all the way to Mayflower. And the Mayflower's kids love him equally as much. So appreciate it, Mike County.
I was gonna let you know too that I'm working on getting Mike a new vest so we can get him a couple more radios. He's only up to 6 now.
Thanks, Mike.
We're fortunate to have you.
Can I say just one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Superintendent Cooley, Director of Operations Mr. Barlow, the school board, Sheriff Todd Corbin, all of those people for giving me this absolutely incredible opportunity to be a part of this organization. It has been life-changing for me. I kid you not. As a police officer, especially after 30-some years, you can become very cynical towards people. And I hate to admit it, but I was towards it at the end. This has brought me back to the reality, and the reality is that most people are awesome. They're great. I just lost sight of that. This has brought me back to that. I absolutely love it. It's been the greatest experience of my law enforcement life, being part of this organization and watching over these kids. Great staff members, great teachers, from great leadership, all the way from the top to the bottom. An awesome organization, and thank you for having me.
And I think everyone said enough, but I hope you really know the impact you're making on our students. All of my kids, it doesn't matter, second grader, fourth grader, they all know who you are. They feel connected to you. And I personally, when I was running for this seat and Jeremy was running for this seat, he talked about having an SRO here probably the whole time after I met him. And I kept thinking, yes, security, safety, you are so much more than that. I hope you realize you are shaping these kids. You are changing their view on law enforcement and what that means. I don't have the words, but you are above everything else. So I just hope you know how much we appreciate you.
Mr. Kraft.
Gotcha. All right, they asked me to talk to you guys about the summer meal program this year, so you know, we are gonna do it again. This year, we kind of did something a little different. Well, I'll let me talk about this first. This is what we served last year, on the community. Some of it has boys and girls stuff in it that much. We served, only 37 days last year, and it was an average of 621 meals a day. It was a big chunk. It was a big last year, like a little operation going on. This year it's going to get even bigger. We decided to partner with Salvation Army, a couple of the churches locally. Actually, I'm working with Goodwill right now too. She's brand new, Brianna Mance. She's a brand new director there. They're not just floating; they're doing things with the homeless now. They're actually changing their corporation. They're actually redoing that down there. She said they're going to have like showers and stuff like that for homeless people and stuff. It's going to be a big thing. But, back to ours here real quick. So what we're gonna do with ours is, I'll show you the next on the slide. Salvation Army last year, they wanted to do their own thing. This year, they wanted to merge with us, so we have volunteers gonna be helping out, where we're gonna still serve at the 3 locations we did last year, Lee, Pleasant, and Maplehurst, from 11:30 to 12:30. But they are actually gonna take the meals to a couple of locations. Jefferson Street, Grand Ave, and Moose Gap. Those are the big, what they call the hot spots Salvation Army had. And last year, we wanted to make sure we weren't close by there when we served our meals in the community, because we didn't want to intertwine with Salvation Army, of course. But now, they don't have to worry about preparing the food or anything like that. They're gonna come to us, pick it up at the middle school, and then take it out and drop it off to the kids in the community. We're next door, so the two. We're doing a little bit different this year. We're doing a shows really how that works. So the kids every day are gonna get a lunch and next day breakfast. And then on Friday, they're gonna get Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And we get reimbursed, actually 100% of that. In the summertime, you always get reimbursed 100%, no matter what. Then, this is a little bit of the flyer, what it is. We're trying to get a registration form. You're allowed to do that. We have one on Google. We're gonna put it up soon. Parents don't have to register though, they don't have to do it all, just show up to the sites. It just gives us an idea, so the state will have to make sure you're not wasting food, wasting anything, so at least you have something. So we already had a game plan last year, how we did it, so we didn't waste anything at all. We prepared all the meals, they're all usually bagged or ready to heat meals. And we had little instructions, we had a QR code where the parents can scan it, show them how to heat everything up. All the diet restrictions in the food, make sure there's no allergies, all that good stuff, it's kind of neat. So when they do it this year, they go online, fill out the form, so at least we know, like, if they're going to Maplehurst, we know we're gonna have 100 meals here, we'll have 100 meals ready to go for them, so they're there, so. The only 2 days we won't have is June 19th and July 4th, so the holidays, so staff are dedicated, so. Yeah, so. So a couple other things too, we're working on with the summer feeding. Tim Hollinger, Huron County Health Commissioner, nice guy. First time I ever met him. He's working with me a little bit with going to Celeryville, the Mennonites down there, to talk to people about this. Produce is going sky high. I think you all know that by now. You see it in the stores, you see it everywhere. So me and him are going to get together and collage a little bit about that. Working with Julie Moorfield from Second Harvest out in Lorraine. Just got a call with her yesterday. We're looking to get a grant coming. Compatibility grant, it's called, is through them. Where like this year we're gonna need more totes and stuff like that for the kids' meals, so they'll be able to give us money for that, pay for that, cover the cost. One of the biggest things too is Jackie White. I got you guys all know Jackie. She's the biggest one with the Salvation Army and with Goodwill. She's been really kind of merging with it for the families, especially our kids, our students in the district, that figure out what families really need it for the summer, what kids need it for the summer. That's really about it. I mean, I'm excited about it. It's a big thing. Summertime is a good thing. It's a good thing for kids, community, parents. Parents don't have to worry about it, especially the weekends. I know this year, during school year, we had a family, one family like get down their luck and everybody pull together and got stuff for them and stuff like that. Just think that. So.
Can you email me that registration? We have junior trucker signups this weekend.
Okay.
And I'm gonna include that in because I know we do have some individuals that could probably use it. It's throughout the community, right? It's
Yep.
not just.
Nope, not just
we have-
Norwalk. Nope, it could be anywhere.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Here.
We have about 100 kids usually that
Yep.
are in the program.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And they don't have to, they register, we don't need to know anything about it, anything like that, their
Okay.
salary, nothing like that, nothing, just if they're coming or not, that's all we gotta have, so we know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what we're doing with the Mennonites that we're gonna do is get the produce, we wanna, it's really crazy, first time. Last year, we used a lot of like frozen vegetables, stuff like that. We wanna get the fresh veggies, have a team cutting up fresh veggies and fruits every day and shipping it out, so it's gonna be kind of cool to see, so. And the Salvation Army is gonna help us with volunteers too, so we can't worry about that, so it's great, so.
Check correct.
Okay.
Add to that, we are having Boys and Girls Club this summer. Originally, we were not going to be able to have that. This summer, we are. So that.
And we are eating lunch, so yes, correct. Breakfast and lunch every day. So. Every day. Yeah. All right. Is that things?
Make sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Craddock.
So then to continue this, that information will be going out to the community because we understand that we have that grant to extend through the summer because it was communicated that at the end of this school year, Boys and Girls Club will be finished in Norwalk. So it'll extend through this summer. Funding after that looks pretty difficult. That may not be there. So we've kind of talked to some, even the ministerial group here in Norwalk. There's some excitement from that group of potentially joining forces and continuing the same essential mission, which is having kids, feeding kids, giving them good physical activity, academic supports after school, and obviously buying that critical time when parents are still working. So we are trying to answer that call, even if Boys and Girls Club is not by name continuing into the new school year. But we are confident that we could say this summer on all 32 sites that Boys and Girls Club have in this area, we will move forward. So
This is great news.
And that was special funding that the Boys and Girls Club was able to come up with. They continue it over the summer, so,
Awesome.
yeah, it's great.
Great. Will you have re-sign-ups or do you already have kids?
those will be going out.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
And the critical part, if we do switch to, if it's the ministerial group that kind of assumes that massive work, this is the critical time because that can't happen overnight. So, the fact that we have summer now, that you have that flow, because some kids, they are school time only, some are school and summertime, and some are summer only, but we can always have something in place. So if it is someone else, they can prepare and be ready come September to continue. So that is the hope, where we're not leaving everybody like, we've done great things while we could, and now we have to stop. We don't like that as a final answer. We like to find a remedy, even if money's not there for us to do that. So.
Thank you, that's great news. All right, public participation. Each person who wishes to address the board will be asked to give his or her name and address. Remarks should be limited to 3 minutes in length. If after everyone who wishes to do so has had an opportunity to speak, additional comments can be made up to a total allotted time of 30 minutes.
Sharon Linder, 291 Snowbeard Road. You're saving me from sending an email. Today they showed me over here. First thing this morning, this girl comes in the office. She goes, I can't get my car to turn off. I've got him on speed dial. I said, hey, worry, I need to see you. I said, come on. And he took out, got her all taken care of her, got her car turned off. But that's kind of stuff he does all the time. Just the most random things. He's there to help the district. He really is.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because actually, for the one time, Lucy is not here, but I have a feeling she would have probably taken up this whole public participation time frame to talk about you. I'm lucky enough to know, Lucy, that I get pictures of the library games and awesome things that you do all day, so it's great.
I don't want to stop.
What's the answer? Yeah, actually,
I want to know.
I'm sorry.
How'd you get it to stop?
The car.
Turn it off.
Actually, the car was not running. She couldn't get the key out. She thought it was still running. It was not in.
Oh.
The key was not locked. She put it in park.
I love kids.
Side note, the rest of the story, later in the day, she couldn't get the car to start. So I went out there and gave some words of wisdom about taking care of your car and stuff like that, and it started right up for me. So I don't know.
Thank God you were there.
Is she one of our driver eds programs? Just kidding. Great. Anyone else? No? All right. We'll move on to treasurer reports.
Okay, all right, well, we have the minutes from our regular meeting at April 23rd, and then we have a special session meeting on May 2nd. We have our April financial reports, and then we have our 5-year forecast. So I think instead of doing our April financials, we'll just move right into the 5-year forecast. So I gave you the actual PowerPoint so you can look at it, because I know it's not easy to see up here. But But for everybody else, you wanna make sure that you have both. Here goes my teacher, hold on, right? That you have both the assumptions and the spreadsheet. Because you need both of these to understand it. And I'll explain it. And feel free, if you have questions as we go through, just raise your hand, yell them out. So, every May and November, we update our 5-year forecast. Over here. A couple really important points. This is general fund only. So we don't have any title money. We don't have any cafeteria money. We don't have any permanent improvement money in here. It's just our general fund operating money. But when we run out of money in those other funds, those expenses come back to the general fund. So we have to remember that too, that it's the thing that picks up everything. Important to remember were the ESSER funds. We had over $8 million of ESSER funds the last 3 years. We just spent the last of it this August with the staff stipends. So that money's gone, so you'll see that impact going forward. We really want to just talk about this year because we don't know where things are going next year, the year after, and so on. It's very, very many unknowns right now. We have a state budget that's not settled. There's a lot of different variations in it. None of them are currently positive for public education, so that's a concern. We have a state legislature that's looking at taking our locally voted tax revenue away from districts. So although the forecast is general fund, we also have to be concerned if something happens at the federal level, we will have to pick up those costs. So at the federal level, our school lunch and breakfast is federally funded. So if that goes away, that's going to come back to the general fund. Medicaid reimbursements, we have occupational therapy. It's good to hear she's going to be an occupational therapist. Occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, nursing, all of that is reimbursed at a percentage from the federal government. E-rate funding, we did that for our technology. Mrs. Gerber likes to spend that on do things for technology. We pay part of our school resource officer out of federal money. We've got title funds that pay for teachers, pay for aides. Our handicap resource program is funded by all this. So these are all expenses at the federal level that could possibly come back to us at the general fund. So even though it goes out 5 years, we're not going to look really too much past this year. We're also in negotiations with our staff. 77% of our expenditures are staff. Salary and benefits, because of course that's where school is people, right? Can't have school without people. Healthcare is the largest driver of our benefits. We don't know what that is yet. We don't know what the increase is going to be. HESI meeting is next week. So by next week, I should know what the premium increase is. So that's a concern. At the state level with the budget, the state budget that funds us, the governor's proposal kept the Fair School Funding Plan, which is a methodology to fund education based on what it actually costs to educate a student. He didn't update it for the expense part. He kept that at the fiscal 22. And mind you, we're going into fiscal 26. He kept it at fiscal 22, but he did input the revenue side, the property tax and the wealth of our local residents. He did put that up. So that kind of skewed his numbers, so it didn't really do good for the Fair School Funding Plan because it made the local community look wealthier than what it was compared to what our expenses are. We all know inflation over the last couple of years has been great, so when you look at something that's going to be 5 years out of date on your costs, it wasn't good. But the House proposal was even worse. The House completely got rid of the Fair School Funding Plan, replaced it with an arbitrary number, just a number based on this year's funding. They also added a cash balance, a 30% cash balance carryover. Excuse me. Since we don't have money to go up, we don't have to worry about that. So it's not so much that's a concern. The concern is they're taking away the discretion of the locally elected Board of Education, replacing it with someone else's, the County Budget Commission, which is county prosecutor, county treasurer, and county auditor. They would tell you what to do. So that's definitely not good. So last meeting, I said the forecast was all of ours, that we all needed to have input in it, which we do need your input in it, but we're going to wait until we know what our revenues are, and then we're going to talk about your input, right? Because we need to discuss a lot of things. What are we going to do with school fees? What are we going to do with people participating? Are we going to be able to keep driver's ed? Driver's ed is very expensive. Are we going to be able to keep it without charging our parents? So these are all things that once we get settled on the revenue side, we can talk about the expenditures. So with that, let's get started. Maybe. Does it click? Okay, so like I said, you wanna make sure you have both parts, right? You wanna have the assumptions, which is my description of everything, and then you wanna have the spreadsheet. It is set up kind of like an income statement, right? You have your revenues at the top, then you have your expenditures, and then you have your difference. So we don't call this income and loss because we don't talk about our students as profit or loss. It's just, did we spend more than we bring in or not? So the first major revenue is property tax. This is a really busy slide, right? But what I want you to see is we've got 3 years of past data and 5 years going out. Now, we all know valuations went up. For us, that was 26%. Brought us up to $496 million valuation from $398 the previous year. For us, that meant $1.9 million of additional operating tax. It is split over 2 years. So you'll see the difference, $800,000 there and then an additional $800,000 there. Going forward, it's possible the state may take all the money back. So that's kind of hard to plan where we're headed there. The other thing I wanted to say here was this is what 1 mil raises. So when you look at 1 mil, it brings in $496,000. The cost to $1,000, $1,000 home cost of 1 mil is $35. Now, if you're a homestead, which means you are 65 and income eligible or disabled, you get a discount. They did change this a little bit. It's now adjusted for inflation. So you get $28,000 off your $100,000, 35%, which gives you your valuation. So instead of paying $35 for each month, we're down to $25.20. Now, with what the state wants to do with property tax relief, what I'd like to see is this what we get better. Do better with the homestead, because those are the people that need it. The seniors that are income eligible and are disabled. That would be a great thing to do, is increase that, and it's reimbursed by the state to all the taxing entities, so it's a win-win for everybody. Which I tell our reps all the time, this is the way to do it, see if it actually happens, right? Something else to point out over here, sometimes you hear, well, schools are getting a windfall. They're getting this unvoted money. But that's not really true, because when you look, this is our voted tax rate. This was what was voted on. Actually, it was a little bit more because our emergency levy, our 5 for 5, when it was voted, it was 5 mils. It's down to 3.15 right now. Permanent improvement was 3, it's down to 0.76. Anyhow, the 48 mils is what was voted, but we're only collecting 28 mils. So this was voted, but we're only collecting 28. So it's not an unvoted tax increase. It was voted. I just kind of want to point that out. Any questions on property tax while we're here? So one final reminder, the last time that we had new additional operating money was 2015. So I think that's pretty good. We're in 2025 now. And that was the last for a few months. Next slide, our school district income tax. This was put in back in 1999, 0.5%. You'll see how the color here is very, income tax changes quickly. So if you see an orange kind of peachy color, that's 1 quarter that was less than the previous quarter. So it's kind of hard to really count on it because it can change quickly. When the recession hit, both in 09 and then when the COVID hit, we dropped dramatically. It took a long time to recover from those things. And also when you look at the change, I mean, some years we have a 12% increase and then some years we have less than 1%. It's kind of hard to know. It's really hard to project that. Oops. Okay, so next we have state funding. I talked a little bit about this with the Fair School Funding Plan. This is our largest category of revenue, $17.9 million. And it hasn't been fully funded, even though the Fair School Funding Plan was a great methodology. The state did not fully fund it because they didn't think they had the money, even though they had plenty of money to send to the private schools for vouchers. They're spending almost $1 billion this biennium in the private school, but that was the same amount of money that we could be funded if we were fully funded. This number over here, this is our missing funding, starting when it was first implemented in fiscal 22, 23, 24, 25. So you can see we were shorted quite a bit of money over the years. Because what happens is we look at the calculated amount that the Fair School Funding Plan says we should have to educate a student, and then they phased it in over 6 years. Well, hopefully the next 2 years I phased them. Phased it in so they didn't fully fund us. So we should have had, this is actually 23, should have had 14.9 million, but we only got 13.7. This year, down here at the bottom is 25. This is the May 1st payment. We're short. Should have been 18 million, we're only getting 16.4. As of right now, we're short $1.6 million. So although it's a great thing, it would be nice if it was fully funded. That would be very helpful. Also, they've changed a lot of it from being unrestricted to restricted. Gifted, the disadvantaged pupil impact, it's all restricted. We have to report to them, to the state, how we spend the money. And in the case of gifted, if we don't spend it, we have to send it back to them. Point here, you see a large increase in the restricted money. That was thanks to Mr. Kraft. We got an additional $1.4 million because we started the Community Eligibility Provision Program. This is the one where our students eat at no cost breakfast and lunch. It made all our students become considered economically disadvantaged, and the state funded them for more money. But the state didn't like that because it wasn't just us, it was all these other districts that started the CEP program. And they're talking about changing what they determine economic disadvantage. So this money may be gone next year. I left it in the forecast because without that 1.4, it was really weak. We were into the red really soon. We'll just hope it's going to be. All other revenue, so this is everything else that didn't get included in the others. And you can see it's not much money when it comes to everything else. The big one, of course, is interest income because interest rates have gone up. And I'm always talking about our CDs at 4%. I can remember, but it used to be like 0.5%. So that's huge. Interest income is big. The Medicaid in Schools program is big. That runs anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 a year. But of course, that's money we've already spent. We're just being reimbursed for it. But that's a good thing. Payment in lieu of taxes. Some of our commercial properties are tax abated, and they pay a percentage of that to us. And then finally, we have total revenue. So you'll see when you look that we are $2.3 million over from last year. That's made up from the $1.4 million from Mr. Kraft and the property tax increase of $800,000. Both of which are liable to be taken away from us next year. So it is definitely cause for concern. So we finished the revenue side. Now we're going to work on the expenditure side. Like I said, salary and benefits, that's the school, the biggest driver right there. We're still in negotiations. Don't know where that's going to end up. So we'll have a final number when that is finished. The other thing too, the second driver, the insurance benefits, you can see how our insurance has increased over the years. This 9% and 12%, they increased prescriptions by 9% and medical by 12%. And then last year, they went to 12% for everything, and then they put an additional 4% penalty in for our teachers' insurance. So we're trying to work through that so that we can lower that. I expect the premium increase to be around 8%, but like I said, we don't have those numbers yet. And of course, general fund includes everything, our bus drivers, our secretaries, our teachers, but it doesn't include cafeteria staff or any of our special education teachers. So purchase services, this is the electricity, water, sewer, our special education costs. These are huge, what we have to pay to other schools for our students. So you'll see that this one has definitely been increasing over time. Supplies and materials. With inflation, the cost of materials has really increased. The cost of fixed buses is in here. Office supplies, instructional supplies, health supplies, all of that has increased greatly in the last year or two. Capital outlay. Normally, we don't use capital outlay for much because we have a permanent improvement fund. But we can't use permanent improvement for our school buses. So that was the big expenditure we saw back there in 23. And then we bought another one, well, actually in 23, but it didn't come till 24. So we bought another one in 24. I don't have anything figured in here going forward, but we do need to get some new school buses. We're trying to work with, to see if we can do like a lease purchase and maybe get 6 of them at a time and do something like that. The other big thing I'd like to do is some vans, because we have some students that we're taking to Fairview Park, Grafton, that we have to pay a special company to take them there, and it's very, very expensive. So we're looking to try to do something next year to reduce those costs, because we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. So we will be probably looking to increase that line item, but I want to try to do it something so we can pay it out over the year. Other objects. So these are things that we don't really have any control over. The county auditor takes a percentage of the tax money we have to pay whenever we have a ballot on, or even the school board elections. The board of elections charges us. We have to have an audit every year. The bank charges us money. The state of Ohio charges us to collect the income tax. My concern here is part of the House proposal for the state budget is they want to cap administrative costs to 15%. They don't say what they'll do if you're over 15%, but they also don't even say what's included in the administrative. Is it just Brad and I? Is it all of our directors? Is it, what is it? Is it all of these costs that we have no control over? So that's a bit of a concern going forward too. So the bottom line, I believe back in November, I had us at about 223 or something negative. We're pretty much on track for where we're at right now, about the 233 negative. Going forward, you see a lot of red, but like I said, we're not worrying about going forward. It looks like we had a good year here, right? Back in 22, had a positive $389,000, but we really didn't. We had a transfer in and out because of the federal funds ending negative. So one year we had to move money, so it came back to general fund. So that actually wasn't as good as it looks. And so that gets us to the important point, which is we do have a cash balance that's carrying us, but we're spending it, so we have to look at changing that around. And then finally, this just came out. The auditor of state has come out with financial health indicators. This just got posted today, right? We got it May 1st. This looks at not just the forecast, the general fund, this looks at all of our financial statements rolled into one, and they did it for 2023 right here, and then 24. And it's got different indicators. Because we're on cash for our financial statements, we don't have all the indicators. Green is good, red is bad. And I was a little surprised when I pulled this today, because it just gets posted today, the real one. They changed it. We used to only have one red indicator, which was 9, but then, and you'll see it's still in yellow, but they made 8 red this time too. So we do have 2 critical indicators. They're basically our cash balance increasing and our revenues not covering expenditures. So I just wanted to put this out there because this is a little bit different. It looks backwards to give you information, whereas the forecast is looking forwards. And you can see there's 23, and we only have 1 yellow critical, which morphed into 2 red precaution, into 2 red critical. So that's something we'll be watching. But it encompasses more than just the general fund. It's all. And with that, that's the forecast.
I'm so glad that you're here to do that because
But that's why there's 22 pages of assumptions to it, because it really tries to get into the detail and explain it all. Because there's so much to it, and really, I'm just like so concerned about the new state budget because it really hasn't been good. It's not looking good. I don't know what's going to happen at the Senate level. I mean, the governor has the option when it gets back to, okay, so it's good. It's in the Senate right now. They're going to come up with something. They're going to vote on it. It's going to go to a conference committee, which is a little bit of the Senate, a little bit of the House. They put it together, vote on it. Then it goes to the governor. He can line item veto some things, but he might not. If they get rid of the fair school funding plan, it just is gonna be, I mean, we're just gonna be back to the just made up numbers. There's, you know, like, I could figure out what next year's funding was gonna be pretty much based on what the first school funding plan says, you know, you look at enrollment. But now it'll just be back to whatever number they decide to say. So, along with all the other bad things, you know, they have, if the cash balance won't affect this carryover, but they're looking at other property taxes. They're looking at getting rid of the 20 mil floor. I mean, that, we just got to the 20 mil floor. I was so excited, like 2 years ago, we got there. You know, and now they're gonna take it away. It's just, between the increase in the taxes and the ESSER money is what has kept us from having to ask for more operating money. And obviously, if we just passed our bond issue, we cannot ask for more operating money. We have to go with that army. But it's also the state's responsibility to fund a free and appropriate public education.
It seems like there's a more public school.
There definitely does. Public education is definitely under fire. Any other questions? Yes, concerns, discussion.
Yeah, do we have any idea when some of these decisions might be made? Do we even know?
So the state budget should be done by June 30th. Should be. I mean, I had seen it not be done until end of July, but it should be done by June 30th.
Depending on how that turns out, would it be appropriate to consider doing some work sessions to plan our budget accordingly after we know?
Once we know, yes. I mean, you know, we have a cash balance to hold us, but it is something we'll have to look at. I mean, because there's a lot to it. We've done a lot of things that, you know, like the Boys and Girls Club. We're not gonna have that kind of money to do those extra things. That's, you know, so it's a good thing that other groups are picking it up for us.
A lot of people may remember, if they paid attention, we had ESSER money that we had to spend, and we had to spend it on things that qualified. So we got to start a lot of programs and a lot of things that we probably never would have been able to do without it. And I don't regret that, but it is disappointing to not be able to continue some of the things that we know have actually made a huge difference for our students and our families.
Right, right. And we really don't want to have to go back to our families if we can help it. I mean, school fees and pay to participate and all that is, it's a small amount of money. When you think about a $30 million budget, it's a couple $100,000, but what it is to our parents is huge.
Right.
You know, so I'd like to try to avoid that if possible, but on the other hand, we'll have to figure out where we're gonna get it. So, yeah.
How do we get you?
Lottery tickets.
How do we get you to Columbus and start talking to these people, Julia?
Right, yes, well, as you know, I have been submitting testimony and contacting my representatives and, you know, on a regular basis. And sending it out for everyone else to do so too, so there's that. They're hearing testimony today, but we did Monday and today, in the different Senate education type committees, they were listing the testimony and I had submitted some. So it's just like with the House. People submitted testimony and then they turn around with this budget that's completely, I mean, out of nowhere. The cash balance thing was like, nobody had ever, for all the hearings they had last year on property tax relief, that was never a discussion. You know, there's a lot of districts that have different reasons why they might have a cash balance carryover. If you don't have a permanent improvement fund, you gotta save for your capital projects somewhere, you know, it's just, or, you know, if you have pipeline money, it comes in one chunk and, because they just have settlement.
We should go down there and talk to them.
Well, I told Allison, we should go down and present testimony sometime.
Joyce, I'll be there, but I'm just there to be your cheerleader because you are the knowledge point in this.
Sign up.
But, yeah,
It's just. I
we'll be
feel
there.
like
Eric's.
Well, yeah, right.
You see that face? He was like, yeah.
Eric's that person who's there. But it really is. Advocating for public education, I mean, we take all comers.
That's
Everybody, you know, we don't turn anyone away, we don't, and we do whatever it takes. We're spending huge amounts of money for our special education students because it helps, because it works, because you can see the difference. Jennifer King sends out videos all the time about, you know, the teachers will look at, you know, look how far the student has come, look what they're doing, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened that has changed in this world, that public education is under attack. I don't understand it. I don't know, but I know for being here, we have an amazing school district. I just don't know. I really don't. And I think that everybody should have their choice if they want to go, if they want to homeschool, if they want to go to private. I completely support choice, but
Sure, yeah.
I also want this to be a choice because not everybody has a different one. So we need to make public education a priority and keep it there. But how do we get that message out there?
Yeah, sure. I agree.
Thanks, Joyce.
Sure.
Can we have a quiz or something so Mr. Long potentially can win some flowers on this evening?
I was looking around.
I heard there's cupcakes. So you can have one of those.
Yeah, you can.
The winner of the quiz of the financial forecast will get
He was
three.
paid attention.
All right.
So that's all I have, unless you have any other questions or anything. Any questions? Okay, all right, thank you.
Is there a motion to accept items 1 through 3 under treasurer reports?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett.
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford.
Yes.
Mr. Norris.
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenbauer.
Yes.
Personnel.
Yes, items for approval. We have 2 resignations. Vicky Hemingway, who obviously we honored tonight. She submitted her letter to me last week, so we had just enough time to order that truck for her and get the flowers ready. So, yeah, great lady, and we've said all the great things about her, and well deserving of all those words. Ethan Gilbert, correct the record here. This should be April 25, 2025. That was a higher date rather than his resignation date. So if you can correct the record, please, that is April 25, 2025 for Ethan Gilbert. Deontay Jones, classified as a termination. That was during his probationary period. 2, we have 2 individuals. I had talked to 7 throughout the district offering retiree hire, various positions. So those hitting the 32 with the change with STRS, those hitting 32 and those beyond that. So those individuals I spoke with, we had 2 that are taking up that offer, that opportunity. And that is Gary Swartz, teacher, 6th grade teacher. He's at Main Street currently. He's going to be making the move to League. And then Stephanie Underwood, who is a teacher at Maplehurst. So good for them. Financially makes sense for them. Financially makes sense for our district. So you're talking a teacher who is on the top end of the salary schedule, who's moving down to M10. So each of those positions from a district savings standpoint, you're close to 30,000. So by those individuals retiring and then getting rehired, that is the difference of an M45 to an M10 and that number of years. So smart for our district, smart for them. And so yeah, good decisions for all. They will have their separation period during the 2 months of June and July, and then they'll be ready to start back with kids in August. So they will be finished at the end of May and will not be able to work. They'll have a dock day on that June 2nd, which is the teacher return or the teacher work day. So, all right, next up is our fun one. Our person waiting back here to be have her name called. Employment of Marissa Hip Delasanti. She is an alum Norwalk student. Mr. Kreischer and his teaching crew that had the interviews, he was just overwhelmed. He had 3 that he'd love to offer the job to. So one was good, the next one was better. Like, why didn't we offer that job? Marissa had not even entered the room yet. She was the last one to come in, and then everybody was blown away by her. So I had known her when I got hired initially, way back in the day, because that's, I think, when she was finishing up as a graduate of Norwalk High School when I got hired. So knew her a little bit, but I knew like the fire in her, the personality, and I haven't seen her in a long time since. But I knew, like, if she's anywhere close to what I remember, she's going to be great with kids and great with people. And I'm glad that she's going to be in our district. She has been teaching in Monroeville, just right next door. And she's got kids that are truckers. So, yeah, the life cycle continues. Yeah. We're very excited for Marissa to be here. So any words to share quickly?
Sure. So thank you for that. I'm just so thrilled to be back home at Norwalk. This is where my heart has always been. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to give back to the community that gave to me for so many years. I've already just had such a wonderful welcome. Even just being here tonight, the positive energy, I'm just ready to just dive on in and just join in with those positive forces and make it the best that it can be here at Norwalk. So I appreciate everybody, and I'm looking forward to this next chapter in my life. So Thank you.
Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
Number 4, substitutes, we have Emily Berry as classified pending verification. Number 5, we have employment support services. These are the individuals that will help with cleaning and obviously the critical move that will be taking place as soon as kids are done at the end of this month. So clearly we have the Main Street and the league move happening. So some of these individuals along with our full-time personnel will be making that move happen. So that is that list. 6, we have employment of 1 cafeteria manager and 1 supervisor secretary for food service. So Mr. Kraft spoke on the program. That is a listing of those that will be involved. So his direct secretary, Carrie Mullins, and then the list as cafeteria manager and those other important players that would make sure that our community is fed and well. 7, we have a stipend for tutoring for dyslexia. This was a current teacher, so Callie Baker, this year, she worked with a student, particular student, over her lunch period. So there is compensation for that because obviously everyone has a conference period and a lunch period, and she forego that in order to help a student. 8, we have math stipends paid out of Title IIA funds, and that is for the math implementation training in June of 2025. 9, we have gifted training stipend. Like similar to last year, we are doing this as soon as the close of the school year, where individuals will get a stipend of $150 per day, and they'll get their gifted training hours. So that's important. A lot of our staff have enjoyed doing that because they're not missing time with kids. So we do this immediately when kids are done, they get their hours necessary, and they're prepared for the following year. So that's a pretty regimented number of hours they need. So it was smart when we started this last year. I think it was smart enough to continue that same programming. So anything else to share, Mrs. Gerber or Mr. Baumann?
No, they get a good breakfast and lunch to it.
Okay, in addition to the 150 stipend. All right, number 10, we have supplemental contracts. If you look here, what's very exciting, what's very good for us to see as a district is you're seeing the same names. Like we're having quality people in the spots because you want to have zero success, be changing coaches over nonstop from your head coach to your assistant coaches. So if you go through those names, and I'm not going to say them all, but they're similar people. We have quality people in the positions they need to be in, and we're seeing them come back. Whether they be in-house, and obviously in this first list, as supplemental, or the next group that are not employed by us, but have the schedule, work elsewhere, and make it work to work with our kids. So very exciting to see this list of boys basketball, football, boys golf, and girls soccer, volleyball, and conditioning as well. Norwalk Middle School, we have our listing there for academic challenge, art club, marching band, student council yearbook, volleyball, cross country, and athletic director. Number 11, that is the group of individuals that have come in, who are not employed by us, but simply have the time and the schedule to make this work. So it is tough because what jobs allow you to accommodate a schedule that you can be here for kids at 2:30, 3 o'clock and spend all evening and do it again the next day. So very fortunate to have these. Pretty much that same talk can be said here. When you look at Kyle Brubaker coming back, John Wade, Chris Schnell, these are people, Ben, Mallory, and Madison. These are trucker alums that love what they're doing. They have taken our kids to state championships. We have some strong people, and it's great to see that. Cross country, you know very well. Phil's been in the mix. It's great to have Tracy Summers as our head. She has been good at any level she's been at, and it's exciting for Mr. Kania and the crew to be at the high school level as well. Football, girls golf, girls soccer, girls tennis, volleyball, wrestling, swim, same thing mentioned here. Eric Metzer, Nikki Cross, Sarah Kipp, Harry Love, Hannah Duncan, these are regulars. There aren't too many new names you're seeing, and that speaks volumes of our athletic director and the programs in which we're running here at Norwalk. Norwalk Middle School for volleyball, we have Casey Oates. For football, we have some other ones that we know very well, Frank Staley, Chris Bowles. Cross country, Dave Daniels will assist with that. So that is our completion of that area. And then we have our volunteers and advisors for the positions as well. For Norwalk High School, you have the list here for volleyball, football, and boys soccer. And virtually every other sport listed there on the back, but I will not say all the names. So we have good people. Mr. Slaughter was happy to submit these, and Mr. Kane was proud to stamp on those same names as well, and hopefully we get your approval tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley. We have a motion first to accept items 1 through 11 on personnel. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Wittenfeld?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Okay, for a separate vote, can we have a motion to approve item number 12 under personnel?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Wittenfeld?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett? Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Superintendent's reports.
Yeah, we need your approval for overnight trips. So girls basketball, boys basketball are both headed to camps at the University of Finley. Boys soccer team is headed to Ohio Northern University, and our cross-country team is headed to Erie County 4-H camp on Kelly's Island, and that will need your approval because it's an overnight experience. 2 is a job description approval, which has an attachment there for pupil services support specialist. As you know, we hired Tiva Stillman to fill Jennifer King's position, and we will be honoring her, Jennifer King. But, so this is a support.
Lots of tissues,
Yeah.
just so we're clear.
Yeah. So this will be a position that does primarily all the IEP meetings throughout our district. Supports the 504 program as well. So this is a new position, this is an added position, but one we feel is necessary because we want Tiva to focus on the training with our staff, working in the classroom. Sometimes, like, there are so many meetings involved in the district our size that you need to, this is a necessary support role. So that's what we're wanting approval tonight for that new position. So Retiba will have that, and now is the time, and Jennifer King was very much supportive of that because she's been doing what she's been doing a long time. And to be someone who's retiring and saying, we can switch it for the better right now, that speaks volumes for Jennifer King to do that. Because a lot of times, like if I've been doing it for something sometime, you start thinking, well, that's the best way. This is how it should continue. And Jennifer King on her way out says, no, there's a better way that we can do this. And that was that recognition by having this position in support of Retiba Stillman. Number 3, here in County Health Department, nursing services for the coming year. Here again, last month, we had some standard fare agreements, and these next 2 falls under that. That, and then number 4, contract with PEP, which stands for Positive Education Program, and that's a student placement for the 25-26 school year. And that is all I have for superintendent reports.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve items 1 through 4 under superintendent's reports? Second? Any discussion?
I have a question about the pupil services support specialist.
Okay.
I think it's great. I see it necessary in so many other districts. Will they have any additional training? Because it could be a really big role, a lot of legal implications. Just to make sure that they're compliant and they're not promising things that we might not be able to offer as a school district.
So the position was offered to our internal intervention specialist staff only. So there were 3 that applied for the position, and the person has just been named.
Okay.
And that is Jenica Reamer.
Okay.
So because she's inside, her name is not on here, but I can communicate that to you now. But that is the group report. There were 2 other individuals with our intervention specialists that applied for that, that everyone was interviewed. So we clearly are pulling for people that know special education law.
Yeah.
The additional training, those things that'll go with no more than what Retiba has to do anyway.
Sure.
So that'll be happening, but as far as we're starting out people that are knowing families and knowing special education law and knowing what the IP needs to look like and having exposure at a minimum to 504s.
That's great.
So that is what our decision point of why not offer to everybody? Because there will be people outside of the IS world that could be very good.
Sure.
But we think having that background, that experience of years and years of working in the field, that matters for this position because that's going to be that primary task, is being with families and sitting at meetings. Because Jennifer King, she knows, she spent so much time. She's got the busiest calendar of anybody that works in this district. Not even close. And she shares that calendar, so we see nonstop, this building, that, she is all over this. So it's unfortunate she'll be gone and not be able to be at the new building where you won't have to travel everywhere, but she is everywhere. And she recognized this is just not good. There's some things we can clean up, and that's what the second position will allow.
No, I think it's great. Great idea.
Any other discussion? I have a motion to approve items 1 through 4. Oh, we already did that. Just kidding. Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Great, board discussion, comments?
So we have exciting news here. We have selected an architect for the new project, and that will be Garmin Miller, who some of you might not be surprised by that. We had worked with them in our pre-bond, pre-campaign. We had worked with that architectural firm. There were 8, as I mentioned last month, there were 8 firms that had put their name in the hat. We had shortlisted to 3, and last Thursday, on May 8th, we had a great, and Ralph was there for all of them. It was so fun. I wish you all could have been there, because you're actually seeing, you had drones, you had the software showing what this actual complex would look like on the very ground that we see every day across from Norwalk High School. So if someone is not good at creativity and visualizing what that can look, that was put before us by 3 different firms that did a great job. So once that day had finished, the OFCC, they had 2 votes. They basically ranked order 1, 2, 3, and Norwalk City School District had 2 votes, ranked order 1, 2, 3. When all was said and done, our 1 and 2 was exactly the same. So, which means our 1, 2, and 3 was exactly the same. So it was unanimous in that decision that Garmin Miller is the best fit for Norwalk City School District to design this building going forward. One thing that was crystal clear in their design was the need for additional acreage. We saw that, and I would like to share that with the community very soon, because when you see that mapping, you'll know what it looks like when you have to stage 150 cars, and I'm not saying in parking lots, staging parent pickup, grandparent pickup, on the front end of school for pickup, drop off, those type of activities, all the buses and the lanes that are going to be involved. So what we're working with county commissioners to secure that additional acreage, I think that was always echoing in our heads that day, because we saw being short on acreage is not going to be what we need going forward. Garmin Miller was very excited. That was made official on Monday night. So talked to the CEO and the principal of our project. They were very excited, because that's a stressful time for them, for all 3 firms, because you put a lot of time and investment. You want to work with, in this case, Norwalk City School District. And when they finally get that head nod that they are going to be the ones, they are very excited. Another thing that we had locked down in previous months was our owner's rep, which is Westfield Consulting Group, so WCG. So 2 big decisions have been made already. An owner's rep that's going to assist Norwalk City School District Board of Education, Joyce, myself, Dan, and everyone else, making sure that we're following the steps as we need to, as we work with the Ohio Facility Construction Commission. There's a lot of things involved, and this WCG, Westfield Consulting Group, they are 2 architects. It's a husband-wife combination, and we've been very pleased with them. And they've been walking us through with all the pre-interviews, the interviews, and are going to be meeting with us next week as well. So we have 2 major things that have been accomplished already in selection of WCG as our owner's rep, as Garmin Miller as our architect. Here is our issue. Without having the footprint and the exact land that we need to do this project correctly going forward, we are not able to go out to bid for our construction manager at risk, because you can't put your information out there to them without knowing, here's the acreage we're working with. So as you know, we currently own 20 acres. At a minimum, we like to purchase additional 17, but if we would purchase 17, there are 6 acres remaining. So we would like to purchase all the acreage so we can build a complex and a school facility that makes sense in the future. That's what we're wanting to do. The board, and I think all of us here know this, what we were presented with would basically give us an opportunity to purchase 13 acres at $30,000 per acre, which is just shy of $400,000 to get us to 33 acres. Our issue with that is it is asking us to move over 10 and swap 10 of our acres and move us over toward the residential side. Anybody who's been here has known what is the poorest part of that property. What's the wettest, where the geese, where the ducks, where their home is, and where good farming is not, nor is it good building. So we're being asked right now, if we decide that's our best and our only option we're presented with, that we have to move off of our 10 acres and give the county commissioners that 10 So we can move over and have 10 and then add an additional 13. So that would get us to 33 total. And OFCC says it is best to be at 37. So what we're asking county commissioner is we'd like to get to 4 more acres and we would take the deal. We would take the deal for 30,000, which is 19,000 over the one and only known appraisal. We have one and only one known appraisal for 11,000 per acre. The board has decided we're willing to do 30,000. We think it's unreasonable. We think it's not right. It's a school district. We're not an income producing property. There's no part about that we like. But if that's the final offer that we have, we're going to do 30,000 an acre. And the community will have to understand why we had to do 30,000 an acre. Because this project has to go on. In 4 years, we want to make sure our kids are moving into a brand new building. There are too many inefficiencies happening throughout with 6 school buildings. We're putting too much money into old buildings. And we're trying to hang on for 4 more years without having to do roof replacements, HVAC, high dollar, million dollar Band-Aids. We're needing 4 more acres and we would sign a deal for 30,000 an acre. We would love to have it all, which is 23.36. Would put us at 43 acres and will allow us to build a campus that we all can be proud of. I would love to work closer with the county commissioners, and why I'm making this statement publicly is because we have not had the opportunity to negotiate. We've been invited to public sessions, we've been invited to executive sessions, but we have not had a chance to sit down at a table and say, what is best for the county? What is best for Norwalk City? What is best for Norwalk City School District? I think it's very simple. Everybody I talk to thinks it's very simple. Like, this is an absolute layup. It's an absolute layup for the county, for the city, for the school district, and yet we're struggling. And I understand everybody listening is tired of seeing articles about land swaps, about the saga continues. We're wondering, like, why does this have to continue? All of us, all we want to do is sit down at a table and say, what do you need, what do we need, and come with a fair market value, and let's get it done. We are willing to pay 19,000 over the one and only known appraisal and pay 30,000 an acre, but we'd like to get to a minimum of 37 acres, which is 17 more acres. With 6 left, we'd like to purchase it all. And we'll pay that ungodly number because one thing we know is money is money now, but we can't go into the future wondering why we didn't do things correctly. Why it's so difficult and traffic is jammed up to 250 on Norwood, on Fair Road, because we didn't do things right 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the road. Because the commissioners will be long gone. So will that board, so will this admin team, so will that treasurer, and so will be so many other people. And like, why did we do what we do? Is anyone going to remember what happened? What were the difficulties? What were the stoppers? No. We're going to say somebody screwed up in their decision making, and we're going to all wonder why. So we understand we'll pay a lot of money for that. If that's what you want to do to a school district, we're going to pay 30,000. We'll do it. We'll sign today. But please give us the acres we need to do this right.
As Mr. Cooley touched upon this, Garmin Miller, when I was in the meetings with them, they stressed safety of the students. And one of the things they were really worried about was the traffic on Shady Lane at dismissal time especially. So they stressed, get that extra acreage so we can make it safe out there. They had an idea of possibly being able to stack 100 cars off Shady Lane to make it safe for ambulances or sheriff's department cars and getting out of there. And so the students would not have to walk across the street if their parents parked across in the high school lot. But they did stress it quite a bit of times, please, if you can get that acreage so we can make this design really safe for kids. So this is a big reason why we need that extra acreage. It's not only for the building and playgrounds and things. We're an elementary building. This is an elementary building. You have to have playgrounds and you have to have space, and we need that extra space out there. There's no doubt about it. And Governor Miller's been telling us this. And I'm really happy with this outfit, this company they really presented a nice 3D video to us, and it was beautifully done of what a building could look like. And when I looked at that and I saw Norwalk across the front, oh my gosh, it just sets you back. It makes you want to, really excited about, we need this and we can get this. it could happen tomorrow. And I also want to thank Mr. Kraft. It was a really good dinner you served at OFCC. It was make your own hamburger. You had everything there. Yeah, it was really good. But thanks for lunch. It was really good.
And we've had a lot of people talking to us. We've had people talking to us. There's been a lot of people talking to the county commissioners, no doubt. There've been people talking, like, all these conversations could end so quickly. They could end so quickly. One person that's been talking to me a lot actually spoke at the commissioners meeting just the other day, and that's Ralph Seward. And he spoke to, based on his experience of knowing if we would do a land swap, what we're swapping for. We're going basically to the better 20 acres to go into an area that's not as good, that you're not gonna put any part of your building on. You might have a field and such. You're gonna have to build it up. You're gonna have to do a lot of things. Like, that's what we're being asked to get pushed over to. If that's the final offer from the county commissioners, and why I feel like I'm negotiating now, is because we haven't had a chance to negotiate. So I'm fine, I can do anything behind closed doors, I'm fine doing everything publicly. But I can tell you, Ralph Seward says with his experiences, we're gonna have a lot of retention area. Because we can't flood out Fair Properties, we can't flood out Norwood and all those home properties. Because if you put a lot of hardscape there, and all of a sudden people that never had water issues have those, guess what they're gonna be looking at? Norwalk City School District. I have an issue with my basement now, it's flooded. Why didn't you do this right? So we're gonna have plenty of acreage that we're spending $30,000 per for, that's not really viable for much other than trying to address the issue with storm runoff.
Not to mention how much money that's gonna have to be put into the ground just to make it stable enough to build on it. So it's not just 30,000, it's everything we're gonna have to do to make the building stable. Just not to repeat anything Mr. Cooley is saying, but I think it's important to know that we've tried to do, everybody up here, have tried to do everything that has been asked of us. So every timeline, every meeting, we've not pushed. We wanted the new commissioners to take their seats, and we were waiting for them to come to us. I think that they shared a lot during their campaigning on this subject. I think Norwalk Ohio News has a specific article you can go back to. Each person running for commissioner was asked about this project and their views. We didn't ask anyone to make any promises. All we asked is after January 1st that we had cooler heads prevail. Everybody came down, sat, and had a discussion. Like Mr. Cooley said, how can we get to what's best for the county, what's best for the school district? We should be working together. These are the same taxpayers, no matter if it's for the commissioners or if it's for the school district. And yes, they have more taxpayers, but I think the letters from every superintendent in Huron County, other than us, supporting us, just shows that everybody else is on the same page. We are not in competition with each other. I would dread if this was happening to another school district in Huron County, if roles were reversed. I would be supporting them just the same. So we understand from the statement that was released yesterday that Commissioner Messenberg is going to continue to abstain from voting due to the opinion he's getting. From my understanding, he see our legal opinion. I think that he's in a hard position. From everything that we're reading and hearing, he was not under the impression he was not able to vote until after he took his seat, even though everyone knew he was running, and the parties that told him he couldn't vote at this time knew that he was running then, but he still gave his opinion while campaigning, thinking he could vote. So I am not sure how that happens or if those issues were known before, but it would have been probably better for him to know so he wouldn't be under so much stress. The reason that we released our opinion was to support him. We believe that the legal representation that we have, not because we hired them for this, I want to stress that, we don't feel we need legal representation to deal with our Huron County commissioners and other public officials. I don't think that we need to have anybody represent other than us. I don't know why we would. We're supposed to be collaborating and working together, but they are on council because of our bonds. So they just happen to be lots of other things. So as soon as we found out that another commissioner was told he can't vote, we were trying to understand it. So nobody up here is a lawyer. We got a lot of awesome backgrounds, but nobody is an attorney. So We just ask them to help us understand, and they don't understand. So their opinion is that he can vote, and he doesn't have to decide on his personal company, that they can still bid, because we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to hurt his personal family company either. The whole point is bringing a $100 million project to Huron County. We want everyone to partake. So that was never something we wanted either. And again, we're all making these assumptions based on what we're being told, because we're not allowed to talk to him. So we're not allowed to talk to him. We're not allowed to talk to the commissioners, unless we're invited and we're being talked to. So from my understanding, but again, at this point, we just want to have the amount of acreage we need to build the most appropriate school, because like everyone is saying, in 100 years, if we're trying to build on 20 acres for 9 grades, no one is going to understand why that happened, and they are going to look at this board and think, what poor decision-making of $100 million tax money, and there is absolutely no way that I personally could vote for that. I'm pretty sure that everyone's going to echo that. That doesn't make sense. So even though the offer that we did receive, it was, less acreage than we needed, and at 30,000, and it said non-negotiable, we did send a counter yesterday. And we asked for either at their price at 30,000 an acre for all of it, or at the price that Commissioner Dunlap did suggest, what wasn't seconded, which was 20,000 acre and Main Street School, because there has been talk that was an interest to them. Again, we are just going blind. So we're trying to counter and trying to read minds and trying to see what would make sense and what would make them believe that they got a fair deal. We're begging the commissioners to just give us an idea of what it will take for us to have enough acreage to get this deal done, so we can all, at the same time, be happy with the decision and work together and be proud of this for Huron County.
And that final piece with Main Street is, you also have a decision. Do you want the structure, or do you want a co-funded piece? You want us to abate and demolish, and then you want barren land. That's also within that. So you think about the expense to take down Main Street, for example, to you want barren land, you're close to $750,000 to do that time you abate and demolish. That's how much you're spending on that, of co-funded money to make that happen. So 30,000 for all the county acreage, or 20,000 for the acreage, all the county acreage, and Main Street. Do I think from a negotiating standpoint, that's great, that's awesome? No, we don't love it, but we need to talk to the county commissioners somehow, and this is the only avenue we've been allowed. So we have to do it through our public session here to hopefully get to ears, but there's been far too much stress on every side. All of us up here has been experiencing health issues and stress, and I know the same for the county commissioners. Like, it doesn't have to be this way. We're a county, we're a city, we're a school district. We all should be working together. And what Ralph, Joyce, Dan, and I got to hear Thursday was the importance of not just for students, but the mental health, the physical health of seniors. And we've never had that opportunity because we've never been at the same table together with the county commissioner, 1, 2, or 3, to say, how great it would be to have a sidewalk between the enrichment center, the seniors, and our new elementary build. That's not just, please give us free, support from the seniors to our children. It's good for the mental and the physical health of those seniors to be with our youngest. When you say as educators, why do some look very old because I'm ready to retire, some people look very young because you stay with kids and you're around that environment all the time. So you look the part because you're with young, vibrant kids, and that's why we stay the way we do. Nobody's talking about that. We're not getting to the educational side of this is good for Huron County seniors that are in the enrichment center. Let's get a sidewalk between the 2 buildings and let's work together. I am just floored that none of these discussions even come out because we're fighting over land and trying to overcharge a school district. Nobody I talk to outside of Norwalk can understand anything about this, because most would say, why is the county commissioner not just, fair price, get it done? Should have been done months ago. And here we are. Here we are still stressed on our end, and they're stressed on their end because Brad Messeber is getting calls, Tom Dunlap is, and Harry Brady is. It's really simple, people here. give us the acreage, we'll come up on the price that you want, which is 30,000 per acre.
And stop and think of the age group that's affecting, it's like 4, 5, 6-year-olds, 7, 8-year-olds, 9, 10. I mean, it goes on for those 9 grades that are gonna be there, and that's affecting, there's the kids, and I taught 33 years in this district, and it's hot in those buildings. And they don't deserve to be, with the technology we have and the buildings we can make out here, the room, the space, those kids deserve it.
Not to mention how much we can save on having all of our educators in one building and not having everyone going from place to place to place. I mean, the efficiencies, we are saving taxpayer dollars by doing this. We're not doing this because we just want a pretty school or we want all these things. If you came to any of our meetings, our public sessions, we lined out exactly how this is gonna benefit the school district. Sorry, Ralph, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
I
I just, the importance of this big project, $100 million project, the largest in city history. And, it's affecting these little kids, and they're stopping a project that's affecting little kids. And it shouldn't be that way. This is Huron County. We're all a big family. We all live together. Let's make this happen for these kids. Let's make it happen tomorrow. I'm available. I'm sure these people would be, Mr. Cooley, Mr. Bowman. We'll meet with them anytime. Just sit down with us. Let's air it out.
I think the bottom line here is, over the next 100 years, hundreds of thousands of Huron County children are going to be affected by this. Let's stop being petty. Let's just get it done for the kids. It's the bottom line.
I would agree. I think if you need a picture of what the North Sea School District is capable of, I think you've seen that here tonight. The reality is you have people who are spending their careers here, 25 years of their career they spent in this district. Think about it. People don't just do that every day. People don't just commit their lives to organizations they don't care about. I think we're doing this today. What could we do in the future if we're allowed this investment? And it's not just that. We're sending kids to Bowling Green and to the Ohio State University. We're just over there with middle schoolers who are excited about their future, who are only now beginning to scratch the surface of what they're capable of. And we're saying we're not willing to sell land that's been vacant for more than a decade across the street. For what reason? For what reason? I think that's the most bewildering thing to me in the world, is that there's land over there that's available and we can't somehow find a way to secure it. To me, that is unfathomable. I continue to be disappointed with that personally. I know thousands of my fellow voters here in Norwalk continue to be disappointed with that as well. It doesn't have to be this way. As has been said, there's a solution that can be found. I think we need to work towards finding it.
It's hard to move on because I just feel like we are at this standstill. So again, we are voicing our concerns here because we have nowhere else to voice them. We are at a point where we can't continue our project. We are at a standstill. And all we can do is ask the community to help. You voted for this in November. We're asking you now to help us voice our concerns, why we need the land we need. I don't know how to do that. Write your county commissioner, go to a commissioner meeting. Unfortunately, they are in the middle of the day at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which makes it probably very difficult for a lot of us. Call, write your newspapers. I don't know. Please show them the support that we have and we hear, because I don't know how else we get anything accomplished. And again, I am at the point of begging them to tell us what they need for us to have at least the 37 acres, to get cars off the road, to have 9 grades of children in a building across from our high school, which makes sense on every level that we can come up with.
And we can't continue to have one person that controls our county government. And that's essentially what we've been for 2 boards now. We've had one person that can single-handedly determine what happens in this county. That's not what local politics are devised for. That's not what it's made up for. And that's what we're stuck with. So Brad Messenberg, I was hopeful that you're going to change your line, but I understand you are not. So we will respect that, but we need to make sure Harry Brady will understand what the needs are, and maybe with parents and kids talking to him, maybe he'll understand what just 4 more acres at $30,000 a piece could do for us, because we would sign it today at the number you want.
I just ask that Mr. Brady gives us the same support that he gave Ecoby when he was on their campaign for a new building, so he understands education. I truly believe that he can see this, and honestly, he can be the hero here. So it's up to you, and I believe that you know this is the best thing for this county, and I really hope you support it. And I hope you support the kids here, and I hope you support Norwalk City Schools, but mostly the city of Norwalk, your county seat. And again, we're not asking you to give it away. We're asking you to tell us what it's gonna take for it to make sense for you, so. Anybody else? All right. I also want to just thank everybody. I don't know if they saw the birthday girl sign and stuff. Thank you for making my birthday feel very special, even though, thank you for that singing. Thank you for the cupcakes, sir. Bring them anytime. Anyway, any other board discussion, comments? I have to agree with you. This has been a really overly positive board meeting, and ours are usually, and it's been really wonderful to highlight all the positive things. So sorry we ended on that note. But anybody else, or can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mrs. Burnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, come get some cupcakes.
Yes.